Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe Ariel, an adventurous entrepreneur who loves to make the most out of life. I'm a certified professional life coach, digital course creator, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, angels. Welcome back to another episode of Note to Self. Today, I am ultra excited to be speaking with you today because I'm officially announcing that the Digital Nomad Academy, this is my incredible 6-month business mentoring, digital nomad mentoring, laptop entrepreneur mentoring, and coaching program, is now available for the second round. And I've actually decided to keep the pricing the same time as the first round. This will be the last time that it is this inexpensive though. So if you're ready to take your digital business to the next level or to make that leap, I encourage you to check out the link down below. Right now, there's actually an early bird special off of the pay in full price. So the pay in full price is $1,500 for this entire program. There's also monthly live Q&A coaching calls with me, so you'll be able to ask any questions that you have throughout the program. But each week for 6 months, you get a new module that's going to take your life, your digital business to the next level. And with the code DNA Early Bird, this will all be listed down below as well, you can get $500 off the pay in full for only a few days. So if this is calling to you, if you're ready to make the leap, if you're really ready to commit to living a life full of passion, love, abundance, joy, just a fulfilling life that you know that you came here to live, then the Digital Nomad Academy is for you, and I'll be linking that down below. Don't forget, there's only a few days to hop on that early bird special, so check that out down below. And I thought, what other way to kick off this launch than by telling you guys about my story about how I became a digital nomad. And there might be some of you who watched my journey unfold on YouTube. Maybe you started following me when I lived in Italy, perhaps even before then, or maybe you found my content when I was living in Bali. Either way, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes, perhaps behind the curtain of my very humble beginnings on how all of this occurred. Because for the last about 7 years now, I have been a laptop entrepreneur and I've done all sorts of things. When I first initially made the leap, I had quit my corporate job. I had no idea what I was going to do. I bought a one-way ticket to Italy on a Visa card because I didn't have any money. And I actually lived with an au pair family because that was the only way I could afford to live in Italy, which was my dream place to live, especially the city of Rome. Like, that city called me and called me and called me, and it took about 5 years, but I made it. Basically, if I'm going to rewind this a little bit, when I was 20, I went backpacking Europe by myself, and it completely changed my life. I feel like was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. That was 2012. And I tossed a coin into the Trevi Fountain and I made a wish. I wished that I would come back to Rome and I would stay at least 1 year. The next time that I returned to Italy, I would be moving there because there was so much beauty, abundance, art, history, learnings for me to experience in Rome. And I knew that. I felt the calling. So I tossed that coin in the Trevi Fountain. And like I said, it took 5 years. It took some time, but I made that leap for myself. And so when I first arrived in Italy, I was living with an au pair family. And I had some freelance marketing clients that I worked with, and that was my transition out of like the corporate world. So I had what I like to call a bridge phase in being a digital nomad, where you make the leap doing what you can do using the skills that you do have before you can start operating via your passions. If you're just like, I need to make the leap, the bridge phase is for you. What I personally teach in DNA is really going to the root, and we find what your passions are, what your gifts are. We really uncover those in the first 4 modules, especially. We look at anything in your way. We wipe that clear and we get you focused and creating a dedicated and detailed blueprint towards your map of success of becoming a digital nomad. So anyways, rewinding to that point in time, it took 5 years for me to make the leap. And what really had me make the leap was where I feel like a lot of people who quit their jobs get to, is this realization that we are meant to do so much more with our lives, that being confined to four walls and giving so much of our energy and time to something that's like, let's say a 9 to 5, or in my case, I was in marketing and I was often at the office at 8 p.m., sometimes didn't leave till 8 or 9 p.m. And I wasn't getting paid for that. I was actually getting paid the bare minimum, like entry level salary. And I just knew that there was so much more to my life. While I was at work, I would often like listen to or watch travel vlogs. And I just knew that that reality was available to me. I knew that it was possible, and I knew that I had what it took inside to make it happen, because I knew that I would not settle for a life less than anything that I desired. And at that point in time, I had 2 weeks vacation per year. That's a whole other topic in itself that I feel like I have a lot of opinions on. I'm very also passionate, as you guys know, about mental health and wellness. And I just don't think that that's healthy. But anyways, so I got to this point, right? I was very uncomfortable in my workspace. My bosses were not ideal. They were not kind to me. I'm not going to go into any details about that. But basically, it was just a very unpleasant space for me to be spending so much of my time and energy. That year as well, I was healing from an abusive relationship that wound up with a court case. And I am telling you guys, I couldn't afford therapy at that time. So I was journaling every day and I was taking good care of myself every day. Like, I was really doing the best that I could with what I had. This is when I really started to dive into the self-improvement books. This is when I started my YouTube channel, was right after this breakup. And I really nurtured myself from that rock bottom. And I realized, and what I see now when I look back to that previous version of myself, is that that version of Zoe was living with so much anxiety. My nervous system was consistently in fight or flight. There was so much healing that needed to occur that has actually taken up until the last year of my life, was where I say that I really started to understand what it meant to regulate my nervous system. But the healing that I've done, the adventures that I've had, the life that I've lived, none of it would have been possible if I didn't make that initial leap. And the reason why I made that leap was because I did find myself in a rock bottom. And circling back to what I was saying, is that I feel like most people who just decide to quit their jobs and make a leap into the grand unknown are because they've hit these points and spaces in time where, like, I couldn't imagine staying any longer because of the way that it was affecting my body, the way that it was affecting my quality of life. And so I just want to acknowledge and validate any of you out there who do presently feel that way, who presently do not feel fulfilled by your careers or how you're spending the majority of your time or energy. And I just want to nurture and inspire that inner knowing of yours that there is another reality that is so possible and so available to you, and you are so worthy and deserving of it. So next in this story time is I moved to Rome. I had met this family on aupairworld.com. I Skyped them once and I was like, yep, let's just trust and do this. And they picked me up from the airport. And, you know, I also want to talk about a bit of like what was present for me, like in regards to judgments from others. I had so many judgments in my space. I felt like my parents did not understand my parents literally thought I was quarter life crisising because of this like abusive relationship, and you know, they thought I was throwing away my career and all of this, and that was really challenging for me to deal with. I also had a lot of friends that just didn't understand me and didn't really support me in ways, and I just didn't really feel like I had the nurturing energy that would have been supportive, but it actually allowed me to nurture and support myself and become my own best friend through this journey. And in making that leap to Rome and au pairing, it was actually like perfect. It was perfect because while the kids were at school each day, I worked on my YouTube channel. I had a couple of freelance clients that I got when I transitioned out of my marketing job. I obtained a couple of freelance clients because they knew what I was going to do. And these were just people that I had connected to in the corporate world so far who enjoyed working with me. And I also just started writing a book because there was this actually funny instance where I was leaving. It was one of the last days of my corporate job, and my boss had said this like kind of backhanded remark, when there's kind of a tone to it. And she said, so like, you're just going to go to Italy and babysit? And I was like, actually, I'm going to write a book. And what was interesting was like with that first year being in Italy, I not only wrote one book, I wrote two, and I got a publishing deal. And this was a very powerful manifestation success story because I always had New York Times bestselling author and books on my vision board. I'm not yet a New York Times bestselling author, but it's going to happen one day, and I just know this. But anyways, like I just decided to be an author. I just decided to be a laptop entrepreneur. I just decided to be this digital nomad. Like I just decided that that's who I was going to be from now on, and I was going to live my life like that. So each day when the children were at school, I worked, and I made it happen for myself because I knew that I had something like, I think I au paired for like 10 months or so. I knew that I had sort of this timeline where, okay, I have until then, I knew that I wanted to stay in Italy. I knew that there was no way. Once I quit my corporate job, I'm like, there's absolutely no way I'm coming back here. There's actually no way I'm coming back to a 9-to-5 job. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to just totally take the leap into entrepreneurship. And so I knew that I had to make it happen for myself. So having that deadline, having that timeline for myself really allowed me to put the energy in, but I had fun with it. I made it fun. I spent my weekends working at cafes in Rome, editing YouTube videos. I had lots of fun filming YouTube videos. I was always reaching out to different companies and asking them to collaborate. Everything that I've learned from my journey, whether it is from freelance clients or just being a digital nomad or having collaborations and whatnot, all of that is inside the Digital Nomad Academy. It truly is just such a well-rounded, powerful program that's not just about business mentoring. It really goes into the mindset and energetics behind this too. You can read a few of the testimonials or even watch a couple of video testimonials on the sales page as well. But yeah, I made it happen for myself. And after those 10 months, I went backpacking around Europe for, I think it was about another 2 months. I had so much fun. I went to Greece, I went to Morocco, I went to Spain, Portugal, and I just knew that no matter what, this was the life that I was worthy and deserving of living, and it was going to happen for myself, and it was just going to keep getting better and better. And so that was my humble beginnings. Also in that year as well, I guess I should mention too, which those of you who followed along YouTube know this, but as soon as I made the leap to Italy, that's when my YouTube channel blew up. And again, I think that was because I was so much in belief that it was going to work out for me. And all of that mindset work is the foundational work inside DNA, is truly becoming your best friend. Because when you're an entrepreneur, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be a lot of pivoting. But if you can establish this beautiful connection with yourself, if you can really learn to regulate your nervous system, be incredibly self-aware, and create maps for success, like your success is inevitable. You can't not be successful when you show up for yourself. And in this entire journey, in this entire story time, no matter where I was when I was coming out of that abusive relationship, when I was like journaling my way through that trauma, when I was, looking at Au Pair World, when I was buying that one-way ticket on a Visa card, like I was just showing up for myself in whatever way I was called to, right? It was like I was my own best friend, and I was not going to let Zoe live a mediocre life anymore, not live a life that was stressful, anxiety-filled. It was going to be one of passion, love, and abundance. Not to say that, of course, there's times of anxiety or discomfort along that digital nomad journey, but I knew that no matter what was on my heart had to be walked out, and that was to live a freedom-filled life. So if this story touched you guys, if it's resonating with you, I would love to invite you into the Digital Nomad Academy. And for a few days only, you can get $500 off the pay in full price. So that means that it's only $1,000 for this incredible 6-month program that also has monthly live video coaching calls with me. So I encourage you to check out that page, and I would love to see you inside and support you as you make one of the most powerful decisions that you can for yourself, for your freedom, for your future, for your abundant, wealth-filled life. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoeariel.co. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.